When you talk about that moment with the husband taking the placard and what he said afterwards, we replayed some of it there, he was refusing to say whether he had anything to do with Monique Ryan or the Teals. And it reminds me of the biblical story about, denying Christ 3 times before the cock crows. Here's a bloke denying his very wife. I tell you what, if she loses the seat, I reckon he ought to go head out to the man shed for an extended period. But here's that moment in the House about the mask that you referred to.
Put your masks on. Put your masks on. Put your masks on.
Yeah, it's an instructive moment. And as you say, and you recount some conversations with our mutual friend Johannes Leek, that this says a lot. This is what the Teals are all about. It's kind of bossiness, looking for their moment.
Absolutely. And during the period of COVID, we did have people, who otherwise lived, perfectly fine, boring lives, but suddenly they felt they were a part of something really important, the survival of the species itself. And they'd watch every, those horrible months of premiers and health ministers and health, officials giving those things. And people would watch them intently because they felt like they were part of something crucial. And that's basically, again, what the climate activist movement is all about. So they've just transferred one passion to another, and it all ends up doing the same thing, telling us what to do in a very hectoring and annoying way. Yeah,
well, here's some more hectoring when some journalists were trying to ask some questions of Monique Ryan after that poster episode.
I don't have a comment for you. I've commented on that matter already. Thank you.
Do you think that was an appropriate thing to do?
Could you please get your cameras away from me?
Get your cameras away from me. The bossy Teals, it's exactly what they are. Do you think we're going to see any of them lose their seats at this election?
Oh, my word. All the polls say that they're all looking pretty safe, but, these things could be seat by seat, and, we're always told on election night that no swings are universal and so on. So maybe Monique is certainly betraying some anxiety, some concern. As a first-term MP, that's understandable. She's not used to being re-elected or having run only one campaign. So, maybe we'll see some issues there. Just quickly, before we move on to other things, with your Media Watch item before, did you notice that the homeless-looking guy who presents that show nowadays referred to Ostentatious as an aging comedian? Well,
isn't that ageist?
Well, I'd say, it's against it's an age discrimination issue, surely, which the ABC is like all about, anti-discrimination. But also, Ostentatious at 71 is 2 years younger than the guy who hosted Media Watch right up until last year, Paul Barry. So maybe, I don't know, Linton, someone is the host now. Yeah, just check yourself, mate, because if you're going to be calling people old and ageing, well, you're not that far away yourself as well.
Yeah, I think Kim Williams is going to be in a lot of strife for trying to direct people who to put on their shows, but he has a point. He's right. They're being snobby, right? Ostentatious is too old-fashioned, too mainstream, too ochreish for them. They prefer one of these inner-city screaming lefties who aren't funny.
Absolutely, and, also the sneering, as you point out at the top of the show, just making fun of it, or not even making fun of Ostentatious's number one hit.
Belittling him.
But, who could believe that such a brilliant piece of wordplay could ever be popular? Oh, geez,
just quickly on the Teals, they love a bit of climate alarmism still, and here's the latest example from Sophie Scomps up there on the northern beaches of Sydney in the seat of Mackellar. She's referring to the death of Keith Titmus, who was a 20-year-old who died in training for one of the NRL clubs. Have a look.
So the death of that young man, and I'm not saying the death of that young man, the rugby league player, when it was 33 degrees, very humid day, died from heat stress during, after a training session. That type of lethal humidity is something that the medical fraternity is getting more and more concerned about. You can survive. Apparently, the human body can survive if it's dry heat up to 54 degrees Celsius. It's pretty hot, but with high humidity, that level comes down to kind of 33, 30, even 31 degrees. So it's something to consider.
Now, this is a tragic death, but to use it at a 33-degree day with high humidity in Sydney, for crying out loud, as some sort of climate argument is just beyond the pale, surely.
Absolutely. It's repellent. And I feel for the family of the young player who died, because, the last thing you want is this distance after the event for that to be dragged up and put into a political context and therefore cheapen it. But as well, if the Teals really want to go down the path of examining deaths of young people and attributing blame, let's get them looking at COVID. Let's get them looking at vaccines. If they really want to go down that path, they might find a lot of things that might be surprising to them.
Yeah, so many kids who missed out on so much during the COVID lockdowns and all that as well. Thanks for joining us, Tim. I appreciate it. Tim Blair, you can read his stuff in the Daily Telegraph.